इंदिरा जी की हत्या हुई थी तो हमारे देश में कुछ दंगे फसाद हुए। हमें मालूम है कि भारत की जनता के दिल में कितना क्रोध आया, कितना गुस्सा आया और कुछ दिन के लिए लोगों को लगा कि भारत हिल रहा है। लेकिन जब भी कोई बड़ा पेड़ गिरता है तो धरती थोड़ी हिलती है।
In this context, it may not be out of place to question Mr. Ganju or MJ Akbar's recollection of what transpired. But if Mr. Ganju's statements are true, then they only amplify the thread of betrayal. The first and most glaring one was that despite Bitta Karate, a JKLF terrorist, confessing to the bloodbath, he was let off. Here's what Karate had said: "My first murder victim was Satish Kumar Tikku. Killed him as I got orders from above." Above was, of course, Pakistan. Killed him because he was from the RSS. So there straight away the religious angle comes into this. Everyone gets funds for these killings. Gilani, Yasin Malik, all got paid separately. Viewers, despite this confession, despite naming individuals, these individuals became poster boys. Television studio guests to pronounce their view on India's democracy and the idea of our civilization. And there are many examples, viewers, of Lutyens' media phoning at the feet of these individuals. Bitta Karate, who was also called Farooq Ahmed Dar, said, "I used AK-47 to fire at security forces." Indeed, he was let off because the state showed no interest in the case. And here's what the judge said, and this was viewed in 2006 or so. Under the UPA, allegations against accused are serious, said the judge. Crimes carry punishment of death sentence. Prosecution shows total disinterest in the case. This is Justice N.D. Vani, who wrote the bail order. After this, viewers, this man became very rich, began to own huge amounts of properties. And it is only now, in the last few years, that he's back in jail on a PMLA charge. Nothing to do with the Holocaust. Despite this damning indictment of his government, the Prime Minister, Manmohan Singh, rolled out the red carpet for Yasin Malik, viewers, who was the putative boss of butcher of Hindu Bitta Karate, or Farooq Ahmed Dar. And now when the party has trivialized the 1990 Hindu genocide in Kashmir, let me tell you, viewers, this travesty continues. This is what the Congress said. It played down the genocide of Hindus just 2 days back. I want to open this up. I want to go straight across. Dr. Ranganathan.
Good evening, Rahul, and good evening to all my fellow panelists. Yes, I have watched it. And all I can say is, Rahul, that the Kashmir files to me is like a mirror. For the victims and the uninformed, it reflects truth and reality, while for the perpetrators and the enablers, it reflects shame and guilt. We live in a nation of broken mirrors, Rahul, where you possess neither a shadow nor a reflection if you are a Kashmiri Hindu. You don't exist after you die. We live in a nation that waits for death to rid us of our remembrances. Kashmir Files has changed that, and that is why so many are rattled. It is not just a film. It is a Proustian collection of memories and remembrances of Girija, of Ganju, of Dinanath, played amazingly by Anupam Kher. His words, his lament, they are testament to the power of language and imagery. They survive beyond him, beyond us. Hearing him, one felt loss for hope, wondering whether that fabled arc of moral universe would ever bend towards justice for the Kashmiri Hindus. Remember, Rahul, that 3 years ago the Supreme Court diabolically, and I choose my words very carefully, diabolically rejected reopening cases of criminal atrocities against Kashmiri Hindus because it quoted, too much time had elapsed. That's correct. Justice is now to be weighed against time. Rahul, governments come and go and we shout and we make 100 excuses, but we can't get away from that fact that 7 lakh Kashmiris are in exile. Mind turns numb at the very thought that a nation is going about its business for 30 years. While 500,000 Hindus have been reduced to refugees in their own land, we are the only large economy in the world that allows this, across parties, across governments, right or left or center, as Sushil said. Only 520 Kashmiri Hindus have been brought home since Article 370 was abrogated in 2019. Making Kashmir files tax-free is great. It really is. I commend the politicians and chief ministers who have done this. But remember your dharma. It is to make sure 7 lakh Kashmiri Hindus are brought home. And time is running out, Rahul. That totem of the left, Arundhati Roy, once cushioned the crimes of the Maoists by calling them Gandhis with guns. Well, Kashmiri Hindus are the Gandhis without guns. And that is the singular reason why no one cares for their plight in this nation. Rahul, a refugee accepts his fate and the humiliation that comes along with it. For he must worry about his new life. He forgets how to complain. And that is a fatal mistake, because in this nation, complaints are heard through gun, not grammar. This nation believes inaction is a medicine. It believes time heals. It believes wounds do not fester. It believes the exiled never return. As I said, we are a nation that waits for death to rid us of our remembrances. Rahul, just 20 seconds. They call Kashmir the Switzerland of the East. Wrong! It is a Srebrenica of the East. But they forget that words never die. In times of terror, we wrap them and hide them like Kashmiri Hindus did. And it has taken 30 years for them to be uttered again. But uttered they have been. And when they echo in the valleys of violence where people only know how to light Molotovs, these very words of Dinanath will make them light diyas again. These very words of Dinanath.
Well, let me bring in Mr. Jindal.